before we start. Yes,
Right. How's it going, Levi?
dude, it's frigid. It is
It is
so
so
frigid.
cold.
Yeah, I mean, we're here in the Carolina Piedmont, so yeah. Oh, you're not up in Ohio. Well, okay, whatever, fine.
Yeah.
This is where we are, and this is how it is here. It's
It's
cold.
it's cold. It was down to like 16 degrees
Yeah,
and this morning. And I mean, geez, yeah. I mean, and if you just go a couple hours west, like go into the mountains in Asheville, it's like, oh my God, I
yeah,
can't even imagine, you know.
yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
so we recorded a few days ago and we haven't released this video yet. Who knows when this is all coming out? I don't know. But we had a lot of technical difficulties and I started thinking about it. You know why? Because we didn't talk about the weather right off the bat on that episode.
Oh, we didn't, did we?
No.
And that you just made me think of something else. When that video indeed drops and we give the weather report, it's not going to be, it's not going to be current. It's not going to be.
Oh yeah.
I mean, these aren't linear and they're not meant to be linear. Each one is a self-contained story. You can jump in and jump out anytime you want at comics in the making. But but you know, if maybe we'll get there where people want to pick us apart and they'll say, wait a minute, they said it was raining and that video dropped then, and they must have filmed it then, and it wasn't raining in North Carolina then. You know, we should be so lucky to have that level of trolling or whatever you call it.
Oh, I know. Where are the trolls? What the hell?
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
I'm still waiting. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to reveal it, but I do want to get ahead of it because I know it's going to be said. There's going to be a comparison. We get enough traction and enough people know who we are. There's going to be a comparison to another show out there, just based on just a appearances anyway. There's only so many ways two people can sit in front of a camera and talk about things, but it's going
Yeah.
to happen, and I'm going to get in front of it. And it's
Yeah.
we yeah, I think you know what I'm getting at, but it's
Right. Yeah. The Joe Rogan podcast. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Welcome to Comics in the Making. My name is Ryan Holgerson. I'm
mm,
the creator of Slackmatic, and I'm joined, as always, by Levi Erickson, the creator of The Big. I was trying to get you to do a spit take. I was trying so hard.
came
I'm
close.
just all over the
Yeah,
camera.
just
The whole rest of the episode is just liquid going down your camera.
yeah. Last time it was technical difficulties. This time there's there's liquid all over. Whatever this liquid in this cup happens to be is just
Yeah.
all over the camera.
One time. I'm gonna get you one time.
I'm gonna give you lots of opportunities today. Go. Do your worst. Mm, mm.
So what are we talking about today, Levi?
Um,
Or do you want me to kind of
go ahead and take it out of the stable because I
yeah,
know what we're talking about, but I'm not sure
sure.
how we want to frame it.
Gotcha. So what I was thinking about, and I'll be honest, I actually okay. So what I was thinking about was when do you know when a comic book page is done?
Yeah.
And I think you can apply this thinking to so many different things. When it doesn't have to be a comic book page. You could just be when is a project done? When am I confident enough to put this project out there?
Hmm.
And I think it's an important thing to talk about, and I think we can talk about a bunch of little like different aspects of that. But I think it's important to talk about because I think a lot of people that do something creative and put something out there, especially if that is new for them, the the act of finally putting that out there in front of people can be terrifying
Yeah.
and paralyzing, you know. And I got to make sure that this is perfect before I put it out there.
Yeah.
So everything goes right. And I think, we can kind of go back and forth on this, but for me personally, I think that's a mistake. I think at some point you just got to pull that trigger and start getting that work out there.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, I feel like in my work, when it comes to a page, when it comes to a story, I've gotten to the point where I've moved past that for sure. I can get to the end of a page and I go, it's done. I'm done. I've got, I don't know, 1,500 some pages under my belt, probably more than that. Um, to the point where when I get a page done, I'm like, okay, that's done.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean I don't have that paralysis when it comes to other projects and stuff like that. Because I totally do. Uh, I'm just gonna give an example just real fast.
Yeah.
So I did my first solo video this week. So that'll definitely be dropping before this one. By the time this is time travel, by the time you listen to this one, that video will be out.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty short video. It's just me going through my story for that week. But the way it works is I kind of come in, I do an intro, and then it goes and there's a time lapse section where I do a voiceover, and then there's an outro at the end. Um, so when I went to go do that time lapse uh voiceover, I'm trying to just get this done in like one take, and I'm just spewing a bunch of bullshit for like 4 minutes. So I go to do this and I do it in one take, and I go, "Hey, that was pretty good. That was pretty good." And I go back and I listen to it, and I still go, "Hey, that was pretty good. But I could do better. I could do better."
Yeah.
And so what did I do? I deleted that voiceover, and then I had to do it like 7 more times because it was just it was it was never, and the one we're releasing, I'm okay with it's okay. um I honestly think the first one I did was probably still the best.
Of course it was.
And that's the thing. I'm not The reason I was having so much trouble with it is because it's not scripted. I'm just kind of, I've got some thoughts on the story that I'm like, I can talk about this, but
Mhm.
I'm really just kind of riffing. If I had it scripted and written down and I was just reading off of it, I maybe I could have gotten it sooner. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
That would be, who knows. And I'm not going to do that. I because I'm trying not to spend so much time on these videos in the first place.
Right.
Uh, but and it still wasn't a lot of my time. But anyway, if I had just gone with that first one and put it out, it'd be fine. It'd be fine. No
Of
one gives
course.
a fuck. Like it'd be like it'd be whatever, and I got it out there. But it was my own my sense of trying to get this perfect, where it cost me another, it was probably about an hour of my day trying to
Mhm.
get that done.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a mistake or not, and that was kind of on a small scale. Um but I think this stuff happens to creators and artists. It happens to them all the time, where they're too afraid to put that thing out into the world because, oh my God, what if it's bad? What if it's bad?
Right.
And
Or
people say
or
it's bad.
or being dissatisfied with something that you've done,
Yeah.
you finish rendering or doing what you're doing, and then looking at it again and going, "Oh man, I can do better than that." Or maybe you move on to the next page and you really like that page. You take another glance at the previous page and like, yeah, it looks like two different artists did this. I better redo that one. And then now you're jumping back to the subsequent page and you're going, "Oh, I gotta level this one up now too." And it's just a constant back and forth.
Yeah.
you know, and you don't make any more progress. When you see a need to improve. Now, I don't mean mistakes. I don't mean, gregarious flaws and misexecutions on your layout or whatever. I mean, most of those problems should have been worked out, upstream in the design process. But um, those should be small changes. For me, that those should be changes I should be able to make digitally. I
Yeah.
have I have redrawn a whole page, the very first page of the big number one. After I got about 10 pages in, I just looked back and even going against the advice that we're laying out right now and other cartoonists and illustrators have given me, I went back and did the page and it's better. It's just better. And I've done a couple panels that just didn't hit the way they were supposed to, so I've redone a couple panels. Um and you have to be very judicious on how you go back and redo stuff. It can't bog you down and it can't keep you from making your forward progress. Those should be like editorial decisions that you make when you're wearing your editor's hat, you know. And they should be minimal because once again, those problems should have been worked out upstream.
Right. I mean, I said this on a couple episodes ago. You know, you're never going to move forward if you're moving backwards,
Hmm.
and trying to make those those pages perfect. You know, that's what's going to do that. Now, I mean, but I will say, there's, like you said, there's nothing wrong with going back and having that critical eye and editing. So I do this a lot right now with my current project where I'm putting out a story every week. Um, I the one thing I really like about doing that is I can look at it as a whole. And it's a little easier opposed to releasing like a page or two a day or something like that, like I would have done in the past. Putting it out as a whole really allows me to look at it um, with my editor's hat on a
Yes.
little better because I don't know, and it could just be personal preference, but it's just easier for me to go, okay, let's keep looking over this. So, you know, an example recently for me was I did a Christmas story the week of Christmas called The Gift, and I've been using these really minimal color palettes for all my stories lately, and I was using this red and green color palette for that story, you know, 'cause it's Christmas. And I had the character's hair that it was like a light red. And I had started it off where I had the background as also like a slightly darker red. And I got almost, I think, the entire story done, and I hadn't hit, you know, publish yet or whatever. And I started looking at it and I was like, I just don't think there's enough uh contrast in the backgrounds being red
Mm.
versus the characters being red. And it was irking me. And part of me was like about to just say, well, fuck it, and I'm gonna send it out into the world anyway. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And honestly, it would have been fine. It would have been fine. But before I did that, I said, you know what? No, I know it's not gonna take me long. It's really just moving around some different clip layers here and there and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's what I did. It probably took me, I don't know. I don't even know if it took me 30 minutes to rearrange that and change that little bit of color scheme. And once I did it, it was immediate, like looking at it going, no, that was the right decision. I'm glad I did that. Everything just popped more once I did that.
Yeah.
Um, so but that was something that took me no time. You
Mhm.
know, I didn't get to the end of the story and then look at page one and go, oh man, page 10 is way better than page one.
Yeah.
I should probably completely redraw page one. And
Yeah.
then, oh well, now page one's better than page two. Shit. Might as well redraw page two. And then
Exactly.
you're in an endless cycle.
Yep. And those decisions have to be made with clear intent and purpose on what the goal is going to be to make that correction, you know.
Yeah.
And I think both of our cases, even though they uh they they contrast, I think we both used that kind of level of critique to inform our actions going forward on making those corrections.
Right. Well, and here's the big spoiler for people that are afraid of putting that work out. Let's say this is your first comic, no matter how old you are, whatever, this is your first comic that you're putting out. You've never put a comic out before. Here's a spoiler. It probably sucks. It probably sucks. And that's not me being mean.
Hmm.
It's not it's just you are learning how to do this. You're learning how to tell a story. You're learning how to draw figures. You're learning how to ink. You know,
Hmm.
if you're that new to it, you maybe you haven't really found your style yet. And style is something, you know, that could be a whole nother episode about talking about style. That'd be kind of fun to talk about. Um,
Yeah.
but but maybe you haven't found that yet. And so inevitably the first thing that you release, you know, it's probably not going to be that good. And that doesn't mean it's going to be god awful. I'm sure there's going to be bright moments, there's going to be bad moments, and that goes for all of our work. And that goes for the work that I'm releasing right now. Even though I'm proud of it and I'm happy and it's 20 years of experience that's getting me to where I'm at, I know in 2 or 3 weeks I'm going to look at it and go, like so so take that pressure off yourself. It's a journey.
Yes.
And just and get I get it. I get it. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. And I've been putting stuff out into the public for a long time, and I still almost dread hitting that button on my phone to release it out into the world. I really do. I get it, but you got to get over it.
Hmm.
And it's not the end of the world. If it doesn't hit, if it sucks, or you just went out into the void and nothing happened, it doesn't just keep, you just got to keep doing it. You
Yep.
got to keep doing it.
Yeah, like what you just said, if you put your stuff out and then it doesn't hit, it doesn't get noticed, then what's the difference? It's like,
Oh, what? Yeah.
what are you afraid of by not
What
putting it out there?
happens?
You
What
know,
happens if you don't put it out there?
no one's, yeah. So,
Nothing.
but
Nothing fucking happens if you don't put it out there.
I guarantee you someone is going to see it. Somebody is going to see your stuff.
Yes.
And then just like with our channel, it started with a couple subscribers and then a few more and a few more. It's a game of inches for us at this point. But Ryan and I don't talk on the phone going, oh man, I don't know if we should put that video out because the last one only had 30 views in a week. And I don't, maybe we should just redo that video or something. You just
Yeah.
keep going. And then, the snowball builds.
Right.
And how big that snowball gets really just depends on you.
Right. The important thing is that you're moving forward.
Hmm.
And no matter what if that's your storytelling, that's your art, and look, if you're doing it all the time, you're gonna get better.
Yep. Yep. We've said that before.
Right.
And we'll say it
So
again.
yeah. Um
I'm getting better. The big number one is complete. And
yeah, let's talk
I'm
about that. I mean, if you want to, I want to,
yeah,
you
we can
know, that's,
yeah, we can
that's
talk
big
about it. I
news.
mean, and kind of to what we were just talking about. It's going to be a limited series, and based on the story beats I have and the plot line, it's going to go between 4 and 6 issues. So to answer the question is how do I know I'm done? Is it 4? Is it 6? Is it 5? I haven't thought of 5 because honestly, when I think of a limited series, I don't know if I've ever heard of a 5 issue limited series. It's always been some kind of even number just going on my own brain. So I've given myself the leeway of 4 to 6 issues,
Yeah.
and and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the story, best fits. The issue number one was going to be a 24-page story, but editorially, I cut the content down to 22 pages because it was just better. You know,
Yeah.
didn't need to have so much thrown in there. Combine pages, combine panels, just use that economy to get the story out at the pace it needed to go out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess talking about the first issue, it was planned, it was scripted for 24 pages, ended up being 22. Just because when I got there, I said, you know what? It's a better product, it's a better story if I make those changes. How did I know that? I got there and I looked around and I said, yeah, this is the right move. So,
Yeah.
so it's knowing when you're done with a project, a page, a panel, that it's fluid and each one's going to vary from the last one to the next one.
Yeah.
But as Ryan says, when you keep doing it, you get better and you start to anticipate kind of those creative little friction areas and how to negotiate and navigate around those.
Yeah. I
But
mean
no,
that no, but I mean what you're talking about with that first issue, going from 24 pages to 22. Um and we live in a time when it comes to oh, I hate it, but when it comes to content where those restraints, those time restraints don't matter as much anymore.
right.
Um, and you can look at this all the way up to movies. Movies used to be like an hour and a half long, and and they need to go back to that. God damn it. Um, but but now you see a movie and it's 2 hours, 3 hours long. TV shows, they used to be 24 episodes in a season and they're going to be 30-minute to 45-minute long episodes. Now everything's streaming on Netflix, and it could be a 45-minute episode, it could be a 50-minute episode. It can vary. It depends on uh what how much time do we need to tell this story.
Yep.
And that's what's important. We don't live, me and you doing our own stuff with comics, whether we're publishing it and putting it in print or we're putting it out on the internet. We have no restraint whatsoever on the length of a story.
Yeah.
Uh, the only constraint is when you're printing it, it has to be divisible by four. And if
Hmm.
it's not divisible by four, then you've got to fill those pages with something.
Yeah.
That's the only restraint, and that's just because that's how paper works.
A hundred
When you
percent. And that, you bringing that up, I got the issue number one. The order is in, the files are sent. It's gone to print as of today.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
so thank you. And 22 pages, plus your front, back cover, front and back inside covers. But the selection is 20 or 24 pages.
Yeah,
So I had to come up with a couple extra little pages of content to fill it out, for the printing, for the printing
right.
format.
Yeah.
So I did like a bullpen bulletins style editorial page introducing what it is, and I did a sketchbook of sort of the progress or the creative arc to getting to these you know my characters and my creatures that are in the book. So I figured that's a cool thing for a first introductory issue of a new title, and
Yeah.
that literally took longer than making a page of art.
Oh yeah. You see, but that stuff's fun. That extra. I always like the extra stuff in books. I always like when I get Mike Mignola does this in his collections. He always has like a sketchbook section at the end,
Yeah.
and he'll also do like an author's note where he says a little something about every story and what he was thinking or what folklore it came from. Um, I'm going to be getting ready to compile a very short collection here in the next few weeks, and I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to have a sketchbook, but I think I am going to take that author's note idea and kind of
Oh, I
do
love
a
it.
little thing for every story.
I
And
love those things.
here's yeah, no, I do too. I do too. I mean, it's like liner notes and albums. Like man, I did liner notes are almost my favorite thing. It's such great news that you've completed that issue and you're ready to go.
Yep, yep.
And
And I've got the variant cover as well. And that's going to be, of course, Kickstarter rewards and some incentive stuff. when I started getting my distribution plan of action executed, as we say, I guess I got to figure out what the distribution plan is first. It's something that
Yeah.
I've not given a huge amount of thought to, but it's been in the back of my mind. And you can you can do shows and your little, you can do your Etsy stores and you can do your talk to the local comic shops. But I think there's also another better way without having to go into through Diamond or something like that.
Oh no, yeah.
You know what?
No.
One idea I had, I let me run this by you, see what you think of this, like a
Yeah.
guerrilla style distribution. I was thinking about now, of course, this comes down to, probably losing money at this point, but you know, I was thinking,
Opposed to all the money we're making doing it now. I got
of
it. Yeah.
course, of course. What if I just sent like 5 issues to like comic shops in the like in different states and just attached a letter, an invoice, just saying, hey, here's the comics that you ordered with no billing information, just like they get a box of comics and it as if they were just sent as comics are sent, and see if they end up on the fucking shelf and sell if I get any feedback from that. You know,
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued by the whole like sending a fake invoice. I don't know.
well,
I would,
not an invoice, not not saying, hey, pay
oh,
me money, but just
yeah. Oh
saying,
yeah, no, 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 no.
you
No,
know,
no, no. I know you're not saying that.
here's all the
Um,
shipping, what yada yada yada.
yeah.
Here are the
I
contents.
mean, um I don't think it would necessarily hurt to send maybe like,
Yeah.
2 or 3 copies here and there to a few stores. And I don't think you'd even have to do that. I would just write a letter and say, "Hey, I'm an independent creator.
Hmm.
Here's 2 or 3 books on the house. Just,
Right.
just here's 2 or 3 books on the house. If you're interested, here you go. I mean, you can do whatever I mean, you can throw them in the fucking paper shredder. I don't care,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Right.
Um, but if you would like more,
Yeah.
here's my retailer rate. So like you could buy, I don't know, here if you want to get more, you can get 10 copies at, I don't know, $50, whatever it is. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Um, if it's good, here's my rates. Hope to hear from you. Have a great day. And just that,
Yeah.
short and sweet, not long at all because they don't have any time to read a bunch of bullshit anyway. Um,
Yeah. It's a comic shop. We're not reading stuff around here.
yeah, no one reads stuff in a comic book store. Uh, but yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it would hurt to do something like that. But I know for a fact there's some stores like Quimby's in Chicago, which is a known for its for carrying alternative and indie books and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, they have they've got a bunch of stuff on their website about sending books in there, and they do a consignment thing, which can be kind of a, pain in the ass to keep track of and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think if you did a search of stores like that, like, so you'd have like a Quimby's, obviously Heroes, because we're local. I think
Oh
that
yeah.
would be good.
Yeah. I've
Uh,
talked to Heroes, and they're really good about that.
right. Laughing Ogre in Columbus, that's another good store like that. I mean, there's a bunch
Yeah.
um
100%.
throughout the country. And so I would go through and some of them, like I said, probably have something listed of this is how we do it. It's something I've always meant to do with my books, and to be honest, it's something I've just never done because it's not that I don't want to be in those stores because I do. It'd be great. I also just know myself well enough that there's no way in hell that I'm going to call them and say, "Did any of my books sell?"
Right.
Um, it's just not going to happen. So, and I know that they're very busy and they've got there's 100 other creators, if not more, who also sent their books and who also want to know if their books sold and they got consignment. So I just know, and I know, like on the Quimby's website, it flat out says if you're not calling and asking us, one, here are the times that you need to call and ask us. Do not call us on these times because we're busy.
Right.
Um, but just full disclosure, if you're not calling us and reminding us, there's a good chance you're not going to get your money. And it's not because we're trying to take your money, it's because we are busy.
Hmm.
And so I just know myself well enough, and it's probably something I need to work on, that I'm probably just going to have those at a loss of sending them to stores and stuff like that. And if they work on consignment, I'm just probably not going to get that money if they actually sell or something like that. So it's something I've just never cared that much about, I
Yeah.
guess.
And that's a whole new hat to have to wear. You know,
Yeah.
now you're like accounts payable, accounts receivable, and you've
Oh
got
yeah,
to
no.
block out the time. We've talked about time. We've talked about usage of time. We've talked about barriers and overcoming those barriers to get the most out of your creative time when you are, immersed in the grind as we are. So that's a whole. I mean, there are departments of publishers that do just that, that
Right.
chase down the money, and that's not just for comics; it's for any business
Yeah.
has logistical needs. I mean, that's the point of a whole staff part of a company, and that's one more undertaking that you have to do. And
Right. Oh
so
yeah, no.
it's a big ask of yourself to
Yeah.
undertake that. And if you're kind of getting the mileage out of your comics that you're looking for, and you want to pursue that, like kind of like some of your stuff has been performing lately, I would make the same decision that you made.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And the thought of your comic in a store, of course, is romantic and cute and all that kind of fun stuff, but it's it's what it is. There are thousands of comics on that rack, even if it's in the local indie or whatever section.
Yeah.
So, and the truth is, how much attention are people giving those sections?
Right.
Depends on the store, depends on the town, but
Yeah. No, and I don't think it hurts. I don't think it hurts to try, But for my work right now, like you said, my focus is just getting it out there online. Um and I still want to work on some print stuff uh for sure because I love seeing my stuff in print.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's just not as important to me to be in a store and stuff like that,
yeah, yeah. I'll test those waters
So
just like we talk about doing some of these bigger
you
shows.
got all slow-mo.
But that's just me. That was just me.
It's just you being a slow.
It's me being, yeah, the gummy's kicking in.
Oh, your bandwidth is low. Just popped on.
Yeah, I saw that too. I mean,
No.
who's operating at max bandwidth anyways? I want to see that person and I want to
Yeah,
urine sample.
right. Seriously.
Well, cool.
Well, that's all I've got talking about this subject. So,
Yeah, man. I mean, on that note, I mean, uh, we've got uh, we've got your video coming out. The next scheduled video release will be Monday, 8 a.m., and that will be Ryan taking you through some of his process on creating the wizard staff, and which is a brilliant. I've seen it, and I guess it's out there. You don't have to wait for the video to see it. You just have to know where to find Ryan, and
yeah.
in the description below, you're going to find his link tree. You're going to find my link tree and all the things that
Yeah.
you want to know about us and our art and our
Oh,
projects will be located there.
yeah, no, follow us on all of our socials. Check out our work. And hopefully lots more videos to come. Uh,
Mhm.
we've been talking about uh, I did this solo video this past week. I think Levi might try his hand at
Mhm.
some, and we just want to keep content going out there and talking to more creators about their process also.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's something. It's kind of funny. A rep uh, at my job, an external rep. We just got to talking just real quick, and somehow comics came up, and that's weird. That's a weird thing just to have
yeah,
a professional conversation, but somehow it came up. And her best friend does a comic strip, and she shared that with me, which it's pretty cool. And offline, I'll share that with you. It's some cool stuff. And so I shot a message and said, if your friend wants to talk comics with us, we're going to start, shooting some interviews later on this year,
Yeah.
and just to have that kind of on the burner. Speaking of, while we have a couple minutes and enough bandwidth, next Sunday, Ryan and I will be filming with, I guess it's the Gabba Gabba Hub podcast. I guess we're filming an episode with them, and there's going to be another comic book cartoonist, Jeff Williams, who does Supernova Uber Alles, and I just colored one of his strips. It was fun to do.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Just off the fly, just he was looking for someone who might want to color, and I said, I'll do it. And
Yeah.
so he'll be here. We'll be in the same room together shooting. This is for the Gabba Gabba Huh podcast, I believe. I shouldn't be saying that unless I know, but I did.
It's for something.
It's the guy it's Mike Phillips, the guy behind the Gabba Gabba Hub podcast. So this may be an offshoot or a different thing, but it's the same genius behind that podcast. If you haven't listened to that and you're certain definitely into punk rock and alternative music, go check that out. It's wherever you can find podcasts. We'll put a link down below on his behalf. But so that'll be fun to do. I'm looking forward to that next week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too.
And I am compiling a mini comic zine of old work I've done that I like. It's never really seen the light of day. There are several different strips involved with it, and just various things I've done throughout the years. It's not on the scale at all as Book of Things that you did, Ryan, but it's cool stuff, and I'm gonna print that here at home on newsprint. I got 500 sheets of newsprint coming today, so I'm gonna run
Get
that
ready for a headache.
I'm gonna print it on newsprint, man.
I love it. It looks great on newsprint, but I'm just telling you right now, it is a time-consuming process,
Oh
depending on
yeah.
your printer.
Oh
Even,
yeah.
yeah, it is not fun.
Right on, right on. Well, we got to get out of here.
All right.
Take us
Just
out.
just do the damn thing.
Later.